Hey, what's going on, guys? Thomas Brown here. I'm a filmmaker out of Atlanta, and today we're talking about Nikon.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
My friend Garnet of Garnet O'Connor Photography has been using Nikon for years, and he just got the new Nikon Z6.
All right, keep walking. Keep walking. I'm gonna do the Michael Bay around you.
We decided to go to Georgia Aquarium today to do a collab comparing the Z6 to the GH5. What interests me about the Z6 is its image stabilization and its super flat profile called IS-Lock. I really wish they would have called it Z-Log. I think Z-Log is much cooler. In this video, I've made 2 teaser films using both cameras completely handheld. Once the teasers are over, I'll be doing 2 vlogging demonstrations with both cameras. Then last but not least, I'll also do a quick color grade of Vlog to IS-Lock. They should have named it Z-Log. Definitely. For the teasers, I'll be using the Cine V profile on the GH5 and the Vivid profile on the Z6. For the Z6, I'm using the Sigma 35mm 1.4 lens. For the GH5, I'm using the 16mm 1.4 lens, and with the crop, it's equivalent to a 35mm lens. Because internally, the GH5 uses SD cards and the Z6 uses the XQD cards, to be as fair as possible, I'll be using the Ninja 5 to record all of my footage with both cameras. Here are the limits I put on myself when filming each of the teasers. No slow-mo. That's why I'm shooting 4K at 24p. And really, between the GH5 and the Z6, the GH5 is only one that shoots 4K 60p. The Z6 only shoots 4K 30p. This is probably obvious, but no warp stabilizer. I really want each camera to show off their stabilization. I will be walking forward while filming, I'll walk backwards, I'll do slow push-ins, I'll pan left, pan right, pan up, pan down. I also want to try to hold each camera as steady as possible. So for the GH5, I'll be using the IS Lock, which the Z6 does not have. So I'm really interested to see how steady I can hold the Z6.
Slow down a little bit. I don't know how fast they're gonna walk backwards.
I won't be adding any LUTs or saturation to the teaser footage, just contrast and an S-curve. Alright, let's jump into the first teaser with the Nikon Z6. So what do you guys think of the Z6? Well, while you guys think about it, let's check out the teaser I made with the GH5. Okay, so now you've seen both teasers, and here are my initial thoughts. I don't think the Z6 can compete with the GH5 IS Lock. Here's a shot with the GH5 with the IS Lock on. And now here's a shot with the Z6 with me holding it as steady as possible. With that said, the Z6 stabilization works very well. This was my first time filming on a Nikon camera, and the Z6 was really fun to film with. Now let's go into the vlogging test with both cameras.
Hey guys, well I hope you enjoyed that little short film with the Nikon Z6. This is the last shot, of course, in vlogging mode. Just doing a little bit of vlogging just to see how the stabilization would handle. I would definitely have a wider lens for this on the 35 right now, but I'm going to do a little bit of walking. And so if you're vlogging with the Nikon Z6, this is pretty much how it would look.
For both teasers, I used manual focus the whole time, so I didn't get a chance to test out the autofocus on the Z6 until this vlogging test. And the Z6's autofocus was on point. Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you enjoyed that short film with the GH5. Right now I have IS Lock on, and of course for the last shot of each film, I want to do a vlogging test. So this is the quick vlogging test. Right now I do have IS Lock on, and I'm walking. So now let's cut IS Lock off. All right, so now we cut IS Lock off. I am using autofocus, so if I'm not in focus, you know, we'll see which autofocus is best on the Z6 or the GH5. I'm using facial tracking. The IS Lock is off right now, and so I'm going to do a little turn, a little walk, just to see, so you can see the difference. Here's a slight crop when you put IS Lock on. All right, so it's time to look at the GH5's Vlog versus the Z6's Z-Lock. I know it's in log, but I like Z-Lock better. I'm not an expert at color grading log footage, so I just played around with the footage just to give you guys a quick demonstration. First up, we have the GH5's Vlog footage. I overexposed the Vlog footage by 1 stop, and this is the grade I came up with. Okay, so here is the in-log footage. You guys thought I was gonna say Z-Log. You can only use the EV meter in photo mode, so I wasn't sure if I was overexposing by 1 stop or not. And I wasn't sure if I should overexpose in-log by 1 stop. So what I did was I just kept the histogram at about 90, and here's what I got. Based on this footage, what did you guys think of the Vlog versus the in-log? Still not sure? Well, I have one more clip so you guys can compare one last time. All right, so here is the Vlog. And now here is the in-log, which we are calling Z-Log. So what are my thoughts? Well, I first have to start things off with a question I asked myself. Who is Nikon marketing the Z series to? The current price of the Nikon Z6 is $1999.99. The cost of the equivalent full frame for Sony, which is the A7 III, is $1998. I really can't see Sony users jumping ship to Nikon, especially if they're already heavily invested in glass. However, I could see a long-time Nikon user who was kind of sticking their toe into the waters with the A7 III, selling the A7 III to go back to Nikon with the Z6 or the Z7. And then I also think it's a no-brainer for a Nikon user who wants to try a mirrorless to move to the Z6 or Z7 because they already have the glass and they already have all that experience as a Nikon user. And I mean, if I had to use the Z6 to film, I wouldn't be upset. I would be perfectly happy using that camera. It can film 1080p up to 120 frames per second, 4K up to 30 frames per second, and 10-bit externally. With that said, I think the GH5 is currently the best camera for my film production needs because of its small size, amazing image stabilization, ability to film 10-bit internally at 24p, and film 4K 60p internally. And then you can't forget about the dual SD cards because the Z6 does not have dual SD cards. Come on, Nikon, what were you thinking? One last thing about the Nikon Z6 is that it's supposed to be getting a firmware update very soon that will allow it to film RAW using an external recorder. That's crazy. In the end, it's not about the camera, it's about the creator. So what do you guys think of the Nikon Z6 image stabilization and its footage? Let me know in the comments below.
A little dark, but hold on a second. Actually, you can go.
Big thanks to Garnet for letting me try out the Z6. I put a link to his channel in the description below where you can get his take on the Nikon Z6 for photography and video. I had so much fun at the Georgia Aquarium. It kind of brought me back to my roots with this channel. For all you new guys who just recently subscribed, when I first started this channel, I was only making saltwater aquarium videos. And now I moved this channel towards filmmaking. So I want to end the video with some 4K 60p with the GH5. And sorry Nikon Z6, at least right now, no 4K 60p for you.